Happy Friday, Mayor Dan Pope with a weekly update. Hope you've had a great week. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Council meeting last night, nearly 4 hours of meeting fun plus a work session. We got a lot done last night. First and foremost, I think, is we approved the agreement between the city and Texas Tech to give the auditorium and Coliseum back to Texas Tech. Remember, we voted on that in May. The language in the state law says abandon, but we've worked with Tech to make sure that we responsibly give them those facilities, and so we finalized that last night, and that becomes theirs on October 1st, next Monday. We had in work session yesterday, we talked quite a bit about the Civic Center. The folks that run the Civic Center briefed us on the usage of the Civic Center, specifically looking at the number of events, the type of events. It's interesting. The Civic Center gets a fantastic amount of use, and even though it's 40 years old, it in many ways still serves our needs. Only 4% of the use of the Civic Center is for conventions, and one of the things we hear from our tourism folks, our people, the hotels and motels, is that if we looked at things a little differently, maybe a different booking policy, potentially at some point an expansion of the exhibit space, that we might be able to market ourselves differently. This was a first look at it for us. We're not going to bring a plan to the table next week. In fact, we've asked for some pros to do a study for us on that. You'll hear more about that in the future, but just continue to do our job. If we're not always trying to understand where we are today and where we need to be, then I think we're not doing what you expect us to do. We passed a bike share, scooter share ordinance last night on second reading. Now we're waiting for Texas Tech, Lubbock Christian, others to decide who their vendor would be. We want to partner with a vendor that has a relationship previously with one of the universities. As we've looked at this, it appears to be a best practice, and that's the way we're going to go. So I know that Tech is close. More to come on that, but that ordinance was passed last night. We also last night passed an ordinance that will allow dogs on patios of restaurants where the restaurant owner wants to allow dogs, something that a lot of citizens were interested in. It's something that we passed last night. Finally, probably the most difficult decision we had last night was around a zoning case for immigration, customs enforcement in moving from downtown to North Lubbock to a proposed building in North Lubbock, and that failed. It failed at planning and zoning unanimously. It would have required a supermajority last night at the council. It did not. That would have been a 6-1 vote. It did not receive that. In fact, it failed even at the council vote. I didn't support it, not because of ICE. They've got all their own challenges with the politics certainly right now. I just think there's a better location for it, and with all the space we have in parts of our community that would not impact the neighborhood. Even though it's not a huge impact, there's some impact on a neighborhood. And to me, I think that was the reason why it probably didn't get through P&Z and why the council felt the same way. I appreciate your good ideas, your prayers, your thoughts, your encouragement. I hope you have a great weekend, and let's beat West Virginia tomorrow. Talk to you next week.